Tonight, KSL investigators uncover a shocking case of a serial predator here in Utah.
One man has targeted young women around the state for years.
KSL investigator Brittany Glass sat down with several victims and discovered why state laws have allowed him to reoffend time and time again.
I can remember that day exactly.
Well, I was like, Morgan, he's right there. He's following us.
Stalked.
Like, we were so scared. We
Mr.
didn't know.
Flitton has all the telltale signs of
Spied on.
a predator. I'll be blunt.
Guy came walking in, the light was off, and he was peeking through.
One of these days, he's going to go even farther than he did today.
Groped.
To find out he'd been standing outside my daughter's window at night.
And you were violated.
Yeah.
Utah women tell the KSL investigators for more than a decade, one man has been terrorizing teens, girls, and women around the state.
It's sickening that I'm not the only one that feels threatened.
He's been in and out of courtrooms.
The defendant is a danger to the community.
Jail cells.
Mr. Flitton, I am going to give you one more chance.
Ordered into treatment and on probation.
It's never worked. He continues to stalk and harass young girls.
But no matter how many times police catch him, his trail of victims continues to grow.
I definitely think he's a predator. He knows his target. He's constantly looking for the next one. Always been a dream of mine.
At 18, Marley Pally became the victim of sexual battery at the hands of this man, Chad Flitton. She's never spoken publicly about what happened until now.
It's really heartbreaking to me that he was on probation when he did what he did to me, because right there it showed he wasn't afraid.
Already in trouble for unlawfully providing shelter to a runaway teenage girl. It was April 2015 when Chad Flitton came to the Bridgerland Cosmetology School in Brigham City. Pally was nearing graduation and happy to take on a last-minute client.
I gladly was excited till I went up and greeted him and realized immediately that there was something wrong.
Moments after she started his shave, he grabbed her.
And at first I thought it was just one of those accidental, your hand slipped. So I switched to the other side and then it immediately got stronger.
Flitton was eventually convicted of a Class A misdemeanor. But in the nearly 3 years it took for Pally to find justice, she felt helpless as he victimized others.
When his picture pops up, it tears at my heart to know that there's another victim out there who is going through what I went through, or maybe even worse.
1 year later, and still out on bail, Flitton found his way to Far West, where he followed and, according to police reports, solicited several groups of teen girls. He was never charged with a crime.
As a parent, I mean, this is the worst possible thing you can imagine happening to your children.
6 months later, Flitton was spotted at Southtown Mall in Sandy. There, 2 teens reported finding him looking underneath their dressing room stall. He was charged with voyeurism and pled no contest. His sentence, however, is still outstanding.
It's disgusting, and he's a creep, and he needs to be put away for it.
5 months after that, Flitton found himself in handcuffs again, this time in Layton for following Kimmy Smith's 10-year-old daughter and 2 friends into a restaurant bathroom.
He doesn't need to do this to any other little kids.
A stalking conviction landed him in jail and 2 years probation. Unfortunately, his trail of victims didn't end there.
I have to have my guard up all of the time.
Flitton's neighbor, Nikki Weeks, filed a protective order against him after he came to her home, demanding to see her teenage daughter.
To have him walk up to girls at Farmington Station, to come into my church house more than once, this is bold. He's not being deterred by the law, by any sort of consequence.
Recent changes in Utah law limit jail time for misdemeanor offenses and put an emphasis on treatment over incarceration.
But I am sentencing you to serve the maximum 365 days in the Davis County Jail.
In the last 3 years, Flitton has been sentenced to more than 2,000 days in jail.
I am, however, reducing that down to 30 days.
But judges have suspended more than 3/4 of that time in favor of ordering Flitton to find treatment.
And I am giving you credit for 30 days that have been served.
He spent just over 500 behind bars.
Well, Mr. Flitton, I hope you know we all want to see you succeed. We do. The goal isn't to incarcerate you.
I'm willing to take the classes, treatments, and whatever's necessary to become a solid member of society is my goal.
And yet, Chad Flitton was free for mere days when he found his next victim. Surveillance video shows Flitton following a young woman from the Davis Applied Technical College parking lot into the cosmetology school, where police reports say He later admitted to skirt watching. He was convicted of attempted stalking.
So right when we looked over, that's when he was watching us. So we were scared. We were so scared. This is where it happened.
15-year-olds Sadie and Morgan were just teen girls doing teen girl things at Farmington Station Park last month when they came face to face with Flitton.
He walked up to us and was like, "Do you want to come hang out with me on the couches?" And we're like, "No, thanks." We were scared to go to Station Park.
The girls first tried walking away.
He was walking down the stairs, following us. And he ran.
They ran to find help.
Yeah, I don't know what we would have done if he did find us.
He might have said something like he did a few days later to another teen girl at the same location. Probation reports state he told her he was a prophet and God wanted her to engage in sexual conduct.
I've been nervous that we'll see him again.
It's been 8 weeks since the incident, and there's still no word on whether Flitton will face charges for what happened in Farmington. But he did admit to the allegations in court as part of a violation of his probation.
I'm imposing 90 days in jail.
Flitton, who is currently in the Davis County Jail, will be free again in 6 weeks.
It scares me, and it doesn't scare me just for what happened to me. It scares me for the other girls that will have to be a victim of him, because if he's not put away, he's going to continue finding more and more to harm.
That's when he was staring at us. We just don't want it to happen again to other girls. We both looked over.
I know the violence that he can do.
The loudest voice fighting for justice may be this woman, his ex-wife. They were married for 10 years.
Not good with it anymore. We're done.
April Juke fled Utah with their children years ago.
He is sick. He needs help.
But she keeps an eye on her ex-husband's actions. Out of all his victims, April's watched the longest as he's been picked up time after time and been let out over and over.
I want you to get the treatment, but I want you to fully understand as well the significance of this.
Treatment he's repeatedly failed to obtain.
Why isn't there a follow-up for him to be able to complete that? It puts him at risk. It puts the public at risk.
They need to stop just giving him a slap on the hand, because this slap on the hand is not doing anything to him. He doesn't care.
And the fact that there's some unease out there makes me feel like I haven't done my job.
Steve Garside, the Layton city attorney, knows Flitton's case well.
He's obviously on your radar.
Yes.
You can only assume he's going to be back in front of you, in front of a judge.
Unless he elects to make a change, I'm confident that we will see him again.
And Flitton's probation officers seem to be in agreement, reporting a 73% jump in his risk assessment in the last 2 years.
Mr. Flitton continues to show risky and dangerous behavior.
His actions cause a significant risk to the community.
Mr. Flitton has shown no efforts or willingness to complete probation.
Mr. Flitton continues to follow women, making them feel unsafe.
He is a public safety risk.
If I have an offender who violates probation X number of times, there'd have to be more of a significant penalty. You'd think that would be the case, but it's as if it's not.
It's not.
Garside points to changes from Utah's Justice Reinvestment Initiative, impacting how Flitton's crimes have been handled.
It used to be that when we had repeat offenders like this, we'd say, you are on zero tolerance probation. In other words, if you violate probation again, you will go back to jail and serve the remainder of the time. That has fallen into disfavor with the advent of JRI.
A system that, again, prioritized treatment over incarceration in Flitton's most recent sentencing.
The court's going to find that the community's safety is best protected if you do avail yourself of some treatment, but this will be the last time.
I understand.
And a system Flitton's victims say has already given him enough second chances.
He's not stopping with these little misdemeanors, and so that's the scary thing. Why don't we get him locked up before he gets to that?
When it goes to the next level, what happens next?
We reached out to multiple defense attorneys who've represented Flitton in recent years. None of them wanted to interview or comment on the case.
Last night, the KSL investigators exposed the growing trail of victims of a repeat Utah offender.
Tonight, Brittany Glass looks deeper at a system that's not set up to catch people like him, and one that lawmakers hope to do something about.
I feel like I had more damage done to me than he's had done to him.
We often feel like the law is there to protect us, and in this situation, it feels like the law is protecting him.
There has to be a change in the system.
Victims of a man accused of stalking teen girls and younger over and over across northern Utah want to see something more done to put a stop to his behavior.
And they're not alone.
As a father, you'll do it once to my daughter, and you're going to be removed from the gene pool from that point.
Dad, ex-cop, and Davis County State Representative Paul Ray has been following the case of Chad Flitton for years.
You have these, teenage girls, 13, 14-year-old girls who maybe for the rest of their life are looking over their shoulders.
Flitton's a follower. He's been following young girls for years, making them feel uncomfortable and scared. Numerous police reports document the allegations, but he only has one stalking conviction on his record. It sounds shocking until you hear Layton City Prosecutor Steve Garside explain.
Why isn't this stalking? It's the same behavior. He's going up to these people, same age group, same gender, making similar comments. The stalking statute says, more than one incident directed at a specific individual.
That's where Representative Wright comes in.
We're talking about safety of kids. That's what it comes down to. They're the most vulnerable population. And so to me, it's just really important as a legislator, as a legislature, we need to, there's certain things we really have to do, and to me, that's one of them.
Ray is currently drafting legislation that would change Utah's stalking laws.
What we're looking at is looking at maybe a defined age and gender group, young teenage females or young teenage males, whatever it may be, that if you're stalking that group of people, then we can still come after you.
It's a change that could put Flitton in hotter water in the future if his pattern of behavior doesn't change, but a change that will likely also nail others.
We think we can craft a law that will catch up with Chad, but at the same time, we're not crossing the line and writing a law for one person, because this is a problem across the state.
It makes me sick to even be around younger girls knowing that they could be someone's victim someday, because there are people out there like Chad all over, and Chad is still out there.
I'm just so happy. I am relieved.
I'm thrilled and shocked.
All those emotions tonight over new charges against a man the KSL investigators exposed as a repeat offender.
Chad Flitton's crimes have terrorized women and girls in Utah for more than 10 years. KSL investigator Brittany Glass is here with the new developments in this case.
Well, Deanie, Dave, until now, Chad Flitton has faced mainly misdemeanor charges and much of his jail time suspended in favor of mental health treatment he's repeatedly failed to obtain. But now there's a chance Flitton could face serious prison time. This new charge filed in Farmington's district court accuses Flitton of second-degree felony stalking, a charge that could get him up to 15 years behind bars. But there's fear tonight Flitton could still get a short sentence.
They give him a slap on the wrist and they give him probation, which he violates over and over and over again. So yeah, I'm definitely afraid that the system will fail us again, for sure.
Sarah wants to see Chad Flitton put away for a long time. Her 15-year-old daughter, Sadie, was one of several teen girls Chad Flitton's accused of following at Farmington Station Park this summer.
They carry mace. They've taken self-defense classes. So yeah, it's changed her life.
We have been really concerned, especially since this story aired, about the safety of our family.
Nikki Weeks' teen daughter was the subject of Flitton's alleged advances several years ago. The family now has a civil stalking injunction against him.
I'm thrilled to tell my children and really our neighborhood. It's been such a long time.
April Juke has fought for years to find justice for her ex-husband's victims. She shares in the sense of relief tonight that Flitton could finally spend more than a few months in jail.
I would like to see him locked away for a long time, and it's not out of anything other than the safety of the community, for his own sake, for all of us. He's a human being. He needs help. I want him to get the help that he can get, and I want him to stay away from girls, from children, from anyone.
For this to come down as a felony now, at this point, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for other girls, and I'm actually thrilled for him, because it's going to protect him from hurting somebody, which will happen eventually.
Flitton's new charge stems from several incidents at Station Park. In one day, he's accused of following a group of 14-year-old girls into an elevator, mumbling something about sex, and later following them to the restroom, asking a 17-year-old girl multiple times to have sex with him, and following another woman to the restroom. He's just days away from being released from the Davis County Jail after serving time for probation violations. However, prosecutors will ask a judge to keep him behind bars while this new case is pending.